The taxi door closes. The driver looks at you and asks, "Where to?" You know exactly where you want to go. You know the address. You know the place. But suddenly, your English disappears. Should you say, "Take me to this place? I want to go there. Can you drive me to the airport?" Then the driver asks another question. "Do you want me to take the highway?" You understand some of the words, but you're not completely sure what they mean. Later, you want to ask how much the ride will cost. You want to tell the driver to stop near the entrance. You want to ask if you can pay by card. And maybe you even realize that the driver is going in the wrong direction. What do you say? This is exactly why today's lesson is different. We're not going to talk about English in general. We're going to learn the English you actually need before you get into a taxi, while you're riding in one, when something goes wrong, and when it's time to pay and leave. So get comfortable, grab your coffee, and listen very carefully until the end. Because today, we're going to practice real taxi conversations step by step. You'll learn how to ask for a taxi naturally, how to tell the driver where you're going, how to ask about the price and travel time, how to understand common questions from taxi drivers, how to give directions, how to ask the driver to slow down, turn left, turn right, or stop somewhere, how to handle misunderstandings and problems, and how to pay, tip, and end the ride naturally. And please, don't only listen to the conversations. Pay attention to the small expressions native speakers use. Expressions like, "Could you take me to?" "How long will it take?" "Could you drop me off here?" "Can you pull over somewhere safe?" "Do you take cards?" These simple sentences can make the difference between knowing English and actually being able to use English in real life. We'll learn everything through 5 practical lessons. Lesson number 1, getting a taxi and telling the driver where you want to go. Lesson number 2, asking about the price, route, and travel time. Lesson number 3, giving directions and talking during the ride. Lesson number 4, handling problems, misunderstandings, and unexpected situations. And finally, lesson number 5, paying, tipping, ending the ride, and full real-life taxi conversations. The first 4 lessons will teach you the essential English step by step. But in lesson number 5, we'll bring everything together through longer, realistic conversations, so you can hear how these expressions actually work from the beginning of a taxi ride to the end. So imagine you're standing outside a hotel. You have your phone in one hand, your bag beside you. A taxi stops in front of you. The driver lowers the window and looks at you. This is where your English begins. Let's start with lesson number 1, getting a taxi and telling the driver where you want to go. Before we start, can I ask you one question? A year from now, will your English be better than it is today? Or will you still be saying, "I'll start next week"? The truth is, most people don't fail because English is difficult. They fail because they never truly commit to it. That's why, for a limited time, I've reduced the price of the Native Flow English coaching experience to just $5. Not because it's worth only $5, but because I don't want money to be the reason you never start. For less than the price of a coffee, you can begin building a skill that can stay with you for the rest of your life. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Click the link in the description. Join us today, and I'll see you inside. Now, let's begin today's lesson. Lesson number 1. Getting a taxi and telling the driver where you want to go. You're standing outside your hotel. A taxi stops in front of you. The driver lowers the window and asks, "Do you need a ride?" You answer, "Yes. Could you take me to the airport, please?" This is one of the most natural and useful sentences you can learn. Could you take me to... Then add your destination. Could you take me to the train station, please? Could you take me to the city center? Could you take me to this address? Notice that you don't need a long or complicated sentence. You don't need to say, "I want you to drive me to..." That's understandable. But "could you take me to..." sounds more natural and polite. Now imagine you don't know the exact address. You have the location on your phone. You can say, "Could you take me here, please?" and show the driver your phone. Or, "I'm going to the Grand Hotel. Do you know where it is?" The driver might answer, "Yes, I know it." Or, "Sure, hop in." Hop in is an informal way to say, "Get into the car. Now let's practice a complete conversation." Passenger, "Excuse me, are you available?" Driver, "Yes." "Where are you going?" Passenger, "Could you take me to Central Station, please?" Driver, "Sure. Hop in." Passenger, "Thank you." Simple, natural, and very useful. Now here's another situation. Sometimes taxis are waiting in a line outside an airport, hotel, or train station. This area is often called a taxi stand or taxi rank. You walk to the first taxi and say, "Hi, are you free?" The driver might answer, "Yes, where to?" Now pay attention. Where to is a very common short question. It simply means, where would you like to go? You can answer, "The airport, please." Or, "Could you take me to 25 King Street, please?" Or, "I'm going to the Riverside Hotel." All three are natural. Now imagine you want to take a taxi, but you're not sure whether the driver is working. You can ask, "Are you available?" "Are you free?" Or, "Can you take me to the airport?" Here's another realistic conversation. Passenger, "Hi, are you available?" Driver, "Yes. Where to?" Passenger, "The city mall, please." Driver, "Sure. Do you know the address?" Passenger, "I have it on my phone. Here you go." Driver, "Okay, I know the place." Passenger, "Great. Thank you." Now let's talk about luggage. Imagine you're traveling with 2 large suitcases. Before getting into the taxi, you can ask, "Could you help me with my luggage, please?" Or, "Can I put my bags in the trunk?" In British English, you'll often hear boot instead of trunk. So you might hear, "You can put your bags in the boot." Same part of the car, different word. Now imagine you're traveling with another person. You can say, "There are 2 of us." Or if you're with a larger group, "There are 4 of us." Do you have enough room? Here's a complete example. Passenger, "Excuse me. Can you take us to the airport?" Driver, "Sure. How many passengers?" Passenger, "There are 3 of us and we have 4 suitcases." Driver, "No problem. Put the luggage in the trunk." Passenger, "Could you help us with this large suitcase?" Driver, "Of course." These are simple expressions, but they're exactly the kind of English you need in real life. Now here's an important learning tip. Don't memorize individual words only. Memorize complete expressions. Instead of memorizing the word destination, learn, "Where are you going?" Instead of memorizing available, learn, "Are you available?" Instead of memorizing take, learn, "Could you take me to..." Why? Because in real conversations, You don't have time to build every sentence word by word. You need useful expressions that come to your mind automatically. So let's quickly review the most important expressions from lesson number 1. Are you available? Are you free? Could you take me to the airport, please? I'm going to this address. Could you take me here, please? Do you know where this hotel is? Could you help me with my luggage? Can I put my bags in the trunk? There are 3 of us. Do you have enough room? If you can use these expressions naturally, you can successfully start almost any normal taxi ride in English. But getting into the taxi is only the beginning. Because before the car starts moving, you may want to know something very important. How much will the ride cost? How long will it take? Will the driver use the meter? Is there a faster route? And what does it mean when the driver asks, highway or local roads? That's exactly what we'll learn next. Lesson number 2, asking about the price, route, and travel time. You get into the taxi. You tell the driver where you want to go. But before the driver starts moving, you want to know something important: the price. You can simply ask, how much will it cost to get to the airport? Or, about how much is the fare? The word fare means the amount of money you pay for the ride. Now imagine you're in a city where taxis use meters. You can ask, do you use the meter? Or, could you turn on the meter, please? Let's hear a realistic conversation. Passenger, could you take me to the airport, please? Driver, sure, get in. Passenger, about how much will it cost? Driver, around $30 depending on traffic. Passenger, do you use the meter? Driver, yes, of course. Passenger, great, thank you. Now pay attention to the expression, depending on traffic. Taxi drivers use this because the final price or travel time may change if the roads are busy. You might also hear, it depends on traffic, or traffic is pretty heavy right now. Heavy traffic means there are many vehicles on the road and everything is moving slowly. Now let's talk about travel time. Imagine you have a flight in 2 hours. You want to know how long the journey will take. You can ask, how long will it take to get to the airport? The driver might say, about 40 minutes. Or, around an hour with traffic. Here's another useful question. Do you think we'll get there by 8? This means, do you think we'll arrive before or at 8 o'clock? Let's practice. Passenger, how long will it take to get downtown? Driver, usually about 20 minutes. Passenger, what about with traffic? Driver, maybe 35 minutes. Passenger, do you think we'll get there by 6? Driver, we should, but I can't promise. Passenger, okay, thanks. Notice the expression, we should. Here, it means the driver believes you'll probably arrive by 6, but isn't completely certain. Now imagine you're in a hurry. You can say, I'm in a bit of a hurry. Is there a faster route? Or, what's the quickest way to get there? The driver may answer, we can take the highway. Or, the highway is faster, but there's a toll. A toll is money you pay to use certain roads, bridges, or tunnels. You can ask, how much is the toll? Or, is the toll included in the fare? Let's hear another conversation. Passenger, I'm in a bit of a hurry. What's the quickest way to the station? Driver, the highway is faster. Passenger, okay, let's take the highway. Driver, there's a $5 toll. Is that okay? Passenger, sure. Is that included in the fare? Driver, no, the toll is extra. Passenger. That's fine. Now here's another situation. The driver asks, do you want to take the highway or the local roads? What does that mean? The highway is usually faster, but sometimes you may have to pay a toll. Local roads are regular streets through towns or neighborhoods. You can answer whichever is faster. That's an extremely useful expression, whichever is faster. It means you want the driver to choose the fastest option. You could also say, whichever is cheaper, or whatever you recommend. Let's practice. Driver, highway or local roads. Passenger, whichever is faster, please. Driver, the highway is faster, but it'll cost a little more. Passenger, how much more? Driver, about $5. Passenger, that's fine. Let's take the highway. Now imagine you're not in a hurry. You want to avoid toll roads and save money. You can say, could you avoid the toll roads, please? Or, I'd prefer the cheaper route. Now here's an important English tip. Don't be afraid to ask the driver to repeat something. Maybe the driver speaks quickly. Maybe there's noise from traffic. Maybe you don't understand the question. You can say, sorry, could you say that again? Or, sorry, I didn't catch that. Or, could you speak a little more slowly, please? These sentences are completely natural. You don't need to pretend you understand. Now, let's bring everything together. Passenger. How long will it take to get to the airport? Driver. Around 45 minutes, depending on traffic. Passenger. Do you think we'll get there by 9? Driver. We should. The highway is faster, but there's a toll. Passenger. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say it again? Driver. There's a toll if we take the highway. Passenger. Oh, okay. How much is it? Driver. About $6. Passenger. Is that included in the fare? Driver. No, it's extra. Passenger. That's fine. Let's take the highway. This is the kind of conversation you may actually have in a taxi. And if you remember only a few expressions from this lesson, remember these. How much will it cost? About how much is the fare? Do you use the meter? Could you turn on the meter, please? How long will it take? Do you think we'll get there by 8? Is there a faster route? Whichever is faster. Could you avoid the toll roads? Is the toll included in the fare? Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say that again? Learning these complete expressions will help you communicate much faster than memorizing isolated vocabulary. But now the taxi starts moving. You're watching the road, and you realize you need to guide the driver. Maybe you want them to turn left. Take the next right, go straight, stop at the corner, or drop you off in front of a building. And what if the driver starts a casual conversation with you? What do you say? That's exactly what we'll practice next. Lesson number 3. Giving directions and talking during the ride. The taxi is moving now. You told the driver where you want to go. You asked about the price. You know how long the ride will take. But suddenly, you look out of the window and realize something. The driver is getting close to your destination, but you need to explain exactly where you want to stop. Maybe your hotel is on the left. Maybe the entrance is around the corner. Maybe you want the driver to take the next right. This is when you need simple, clear directions. Let's start with the easiest expression. Go straight, please. This means continue in the same direction. You can also say, keep going straight. Now imagine you need the driver to turn. You can say, turn left here, please. Or, take the next right, please. Notice the difference. Turn right here means turn now. Take the next right means continue driving until the next street where you can turn right. Let's hear a short conversation. Passenger: could you keep going straight, please? Driver: sure. Passenger: then take the next left. Driver: this street here? Passenger: yes, that's the one. Driver: okay, simple, natural, and exactly the kind of English you need in a real taxi. Now imagine you're not completely sure where your destination is. You can say, I think it's somewhere around here. Or, it should be near the bank. Or, it's just past the supermarket. The expression, just past, means a little farther than something. For example, the hotel is just past the traffic lights. This means you continue driving beyond the traffic lights, and the hotel is shortly after them. You can also say, it's across from the hospital. It's next to the bank. It's between the hotel and the restaurant. It's on the corner. These location expressions are extremely useful when giving directions. Now let's practice. Driver: do you know exactly where the restaurant is? Passenger: I think it's just past the traffic lights. Driver: on the left or the right? Passenger: on the right, it's across from a large hotel. Driver: okay, I see it. Passenger: yes, that's the place. Now here's another useful expression. We're getting close. You can say this when you're almost at your destination. For example, we're getting close. It's the next street on the left. Or, we're almost there. Could you slow down a little? Maybe you're looking for the entrance to a building. You can say, could you slow down a little, please? I'm looking for the entrance. The driver might answer, sure, just let me know where you want me to stop. That expression is very common. Just let me know. It means, tell me when you're ready. Now imagine you see your destination. You can say, there it is, or that's the building. Then, could you stop here, please? But sometimes, the driver can't stop exactly where you ask. Maybe it's not safe. Maybe stopping isn't allowed. The driver might say, I can't stop here. I'll pull over just ahead. Pull over means move the vehicle to the side of the road and stop. You can also ask, could you pull over somewhere safe, please? Let's hear a realistic example. Passenger: we're almost there. Could you slow down a little? Driver: sure. Passenger: that's the building on the right. Driver: I can't stop directly in front of it. Passenger: no problem. Could you pull over somewhere nearby? Driver: sure, I'll stop just around the corner. Passenger: that's perfect, thank you. Now let's talk about conversations during the ride. Taxi drivers sometimes make small talk. Small talk means a friendly, casual conversation. The driver might ask, are you visiting? You can say, yes, I'm here on vacation. Or, no, I live here. The driver might ask, where are you from? You can answer, I'm from Morocco. Then the driver might say, is this your first time here? You can answer, yes, it is. I arrived yesterday. Or, no, I've been here a few times. Here's another conversation. Driver: are you visiting the city? Passenger: yes, I'm here for a few days. Driver: is this your first time here? Passenger: yes, it is. Do you recommend any places to visit? Driver: you should definitely visit the old town. Passenger: is it far from the city center? Driver: not really, about 15 minutes by taxi. Passenger: great, I'll check it out. Notice the expression, I'll check it out. It means, I'll visit it, look at it, or learn more about it. Now imagine you don't feel like talking. That's completely fine. You don't have to continue the conversation. You can answer politely with short responses. Yes, I'm visiting. I'm here for work. Just for a few days. Then you can return to looking at your phone or out of the window. Now let's review the most useful expressions. Go straight, please. Keep going straight. Turn left here. Take the next right. It's just past the traffic lights. It's across from the hotel. We're getting close. Could you slow down a little? There it is. Could you stop here, please? Could you pull over somewhere safe? Is this your first time here? Do you recommend any places to visit? I'll check it out. If you can use these expressions, you can give directions and handle a normal conversation during a taxi ride with much more confidence. But real taxi rides don't always go perfectly. Sometimes the driver takes the wrong road. Sometimes you don't understand each other. Sometimes you leave something in the car. Sometimes the driver is going too fast. Or the fare seems much higher than you expected. So what should you say? That's exactly what we'll practice next. Lesson number 4. Handling problems, misunderstandings, and unexpected situations. Everything is going well. You're sitting comfortably in the taxi. You know where you're going. The driver seems friendly. Then suddenly, you look at the map on your phone. Something doesn't seem right. The taxi is moving in the opposite direction. What should you say? You don't need to panic. And you don't need complicated English. You can simply say, "Excuse me, I think we're going the wrong way." The driver might answer, "Don't worry, I'm taking a different route because of traffic." You can ask, "Oh, okay. Is this route faster?" The driver might say, "Yes, there's heavy traffic on the main road." Here's the complete conversation. Passenger: "Excuse me, I think we're going the wrong way." Driver: "Don't worry, I'm avoiding traffic." Passenger: "Oh, okay. Is this route faster?" Driver: "Yes, the main road is completely backed up." Passenger: "I see. Thanks for explaining." Now pay attention to the expression, backed up. When traffic is backed up, there are many vehicles waiting and moving very slowly. You might hear a driver say, "Traffic is backed up for miles," or "The highway is backed up because of an accident." Now imagine the driver misunderstood your destination. You wanted to go to the Central Hotel, but the driver is taking you to Central Station. You can say, "Sorry, I think there's been a misunderstanding." Then explain clearly. "I said the Central Hotel, not Central Station." Let's practice. Passenger: "Excuse me, I think there's been a misunderstanding." Driver: "What's wrong?" Passenger: "I'm going to the Central Hotel, not Central Station." Driver: "Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you." Passenger: "No problem. Is the hotel far from here?" Driver: "No, I'll turn around." Passenger: "Okay, thank you." The expression, "There's been a misunderstanding," is very useful. You can use it in many real-life situations, not only in taxis. Now here's another common problem. The driver is driving too fast. Maybe you feel uncomfortable. You can politely say, "Could you slow down a little, please?" Or, "Would you mind driving a little more slowly?" The second expression is very polite. "Would you mind? Let's hear a conversation." Passenger: "Excuse me, would you mind driving a little more slowly?" Driver: "Oh, sure. Sorry about that." Passenger: "Thank you. I appreciate it. Short, polite, clear." Now imagine the opposite situation. You're in a hurry, but the driver is driving very slowly. You should never ask a driver to break traffic laws or drive dangerously. But you can say, "I'm sorry, I'm running late. Do you think we'll make it by 8? Or, is there a quicker route we could take?" This communicates your situation without asking the driver to drive unsafely. Now let's talk about something every traveler worries about: forgetting something in the taxi. Imagine you leave your phone, your wallet, or your bag in the car. If you realize before getting out, you can say, "Wait, I think I left my phone on the seat." But imagine the taxi has already left. You call the taxi company and say, "Hi, I think I left my phone in one of your taxis." They might ask, "Do you have the driver's name or the taxi number?" You can say, "I don't have the driver's name, but I have the receipt." Or, "I booked the ride through the app." Here's a realistic conversation. Passenger: "Hi, I'm calling because I think I left my bag in one of your taxis." Employee: "When did you take the taxi?" Passenger: "About 20 minutes ago." Employee: "Where were you picked up?" Passenger: "At Central Station." Employee: "And where were you dropped off?" Passenger: "At the Riverside Hotel." Employee: "Can you describe the bag?" Passenger: "Yes. It's a small black backpack." Employee: "Okay, we'll contact the driver." This conversation teaches us two extremely useful expressions. Where were you picked up? And where were you dropped off? Pick someone up means to collect someone in a vehicle. Drop someone off means to take someone somewhere and leave them there. Now let's discuss another uncomfortable situation. The fare seems much higher than expected. The driver told you the ride would cost around $20, but the meter shows $45. You can ask calmly, "Excuse me, why is the fare higher than expected?" Or, "I thought you said it would be around $20. The driver might explain, "There was heavy traffic and the meter kept running." Or, "The tolls aren't included in the original estimate." If you still don't understand, ask, "Could you explain the charges, please?" Let's practice. Passenger: "Excuse me, I thought you said the ride would be around $20. Driver: "That was an estimate. We were stuck in traffic for 30 minutes. Passenger: "I understand, but could you explain the extra charges?" Driver: "Sure. There's the metered fare plus the airport fee and the toll." Passenger: "Okay, thank you for explaining. Notice something important. You don't need to become aggressive. Ask questions, stay calm, and request an explanation. Now imagine there's a problem with communication. The driver speaks very quickly. You don't understand what they said. Don't just smile and pretend you understood. Say, "Sorry, could you repeat that more slowly?" Or, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand." Or, "Could you say that in a different way?" That's a very useful sentence. Sometimes repeating the same sentence doesn't help. Asking someone to explain it differently can make communication much easier. Here's an example. Driver: "The bridge is closed, so I'll have to take the bypass." Passenger: "Sorry, I didn't understand. Could you say that in a different way?" Driver: "Sure, we can't use the bridge, so we need to take another road." Passenger: "Oh, I understand now. Thank you. Now let's review the key expressions from lesson number 4. I think we're going the wrong way. Is this route faster? Traffic is backed up. I think there's been a misunderstanding. I said the Central Hotel, not Central Station. Would you mind driving a little more slowly? I'm running late. Do you think we'll make it by 8? I think I left my phone in the taxi. Where were you picked up? Where were you dropped off? Why is the fare higher than expected? Could you explain the charges, please? Could you repeat that more slowly? Could you say that in a different way? These expressions are important because real English isn't only about perfect conversations. Real communication means knowing what to say when something unexpected happens. And now, we're ready for the final lesson. This time, we won't only learn a few expressions. We'll bring everything together, getting a taxi, giving your destination, asking about the fare, talking about traffic, giving directions, handling problems, paying, tipping, asking for a receipt, and ending the ride naturally. You'll hear longer, complete taxi conversations from beginning to end. So listen carefully and notice how the expressions from the previous 4 lessons work together in real situations. Lesson number 5, paying, ending the ride, and putting everything together. The taxi slows down. You've reached your destination. The driver pulls over and says, "Here we are." Now it's time to pay and end the ride naturally. The first useful expression is, "How much do I owe you?" This simply means, how much do I need to pay? Let's hear a quick conversation. Passenger, how much do I owe you? Driver, $25. Passenger, can I pay by card? Driver, yes, of course. Passenger, great. Could I have a receipt, please? Driver, sure. Here you go. Passenger, thank you. Simple, natural, and very useful. If you're paying with cash, you may need to ask, do you have change for 50? If the fare is $18 and you give the driver $20, you can say, keep the change. This means the driver can keep the extra money. Remember, tipping customs are different depending on the country, so it's always useful to know the local customs. Now, let's bring everything we've learned together in one complete conversation. Imagine you're standing outside your hotel. Passenger, excuse me, are you available? Driver, yes, where to? Passenger, could you take me to the airport, please? Driver, sure, hop in. Passenger, about how long will it take? Driver, around 30 minutes depending on traffic. Passenger, do you think we'll get there by 9? Driver, we should. The highway is faster, but there's a toll. Passenger, how much is the toll? Driver, $5. Passenger, that's fine. Let's take the highway. A few minutes later, driver, is this your first time visiting the city? Passenger, yes, it is. I arrived 3 days ago. Driver, did you enjoy your stay? Passenger, yes, very much. The city is beautiful. Later, the passenger checks the map. Passenger, excuse me, I think we're going the wrong way. Driver, don't worry, I'm avoiding heavy traffic. Passenger, oh, okay. Thanks for explaining. After a few minutes, driver, we're getting close to the airport. Passenger, great. Could you drop me off at Terminal 2, please? Driver, of course. The taxi arrives. Driver, here we are, Terminal 2. Passenger, great. How much do I owe you? Driver, $35, including the toll. Passenger, can I pay by card? Driver, yes. Passenger, could I have a receipt, please? Driver, of course, here you go. Passenger, thank you for the ride. Have a good day. Driver, you're welcome. Have a safe flight. And that's how a complete taxi conversation can sound. You don't need difficult vocabulary. You need useful expressions that you can remember quickly. Could you take me to? How long will it take? How much will it cost? Whichever is faster. Could you slow down, please? I think there's been a misunderstanding. Could you drop me off here? How much do I owe you? Can I pay by card? Could I have a receipt? Practice these sentences aloud. Imagine yourself inside a real taxi. Answer the driver's questions. Repeat the conversations. Because the goal isn't only to understand English. The goal is to be ready when you actually need to speak. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every real-life conversation you practice today makes speaking English easier tomorrow.